gravity. The force that attracts a body towards another physical body of mass, or the thing that made Sir Isaac Newton cry, is by far the most overpowered way of dealing damage in Elden Ring. Even with limited stock of gravity magic, doing a gravity magic only run would be a little too easy. And on this channel, we don't like the word easy. So I switched the game to hard mode. Don't know what hard mode is? Well, good. It's a mod on Nexus that gives all enemies 50% more HP, 25% more attack damage. And heavily increases enemy aggression. So it's basically New Game Plus in New Game. And I'm going to beat every single demigod ranked boss. I'll also be killing all bosses related to gravity magic. This is gonna be fun. First things first, I filmed this all live here on this YouTube channel, so if you want to see the raw footage, it'll be down in the description. Now as to what class I chose, I went with the Astrologer class because the first spell we need to acquire requires 18 intelligence, and the Astrologer class has the highest intelligence at 16. I also named this character after a person who commented on my last video. Congrats, Abyss! The tutorial was a walk in the park, like usual, and it's in Limgrave after I get the horse where the actual run starts. First things first, I have to grab a Neanderthal's first weapon, aka rock. Like I stated before, this requires 18 intelligence, and the only reason we're able to use it is because I spawned in with the Lands Between rune, which gave us some money to spend on Mom's credit card, if you know what I mean. We compare this spell with its long-lost sister, the Meteorite Staff, which increases gravity spell damage by 30%. Now this may seem like a lot, but we are on hard mode, which means we don't get to see much of a benefit from a 30% increase. Basically everything has too much health, including the first boss Margit, the fell fucking omen. I almost felt like dying trying to kill this guy. How am I alive? I'm not. And it's mainly because we don't pass the vigor check. No! But with a bit of grinding, we now do. And it's up to us to keep our distance and use Rock Sling's main feature, stun damage. Now, if you don't know what stun damage is, it's basically an invisible bar that once reached after repetitive blows causes the boss to get stunned. Our spell just happens to have one of the highest amount of stun damage possible in this game, which makes Margit, please, die! No, he didn't die, he didn't die! Even with the extra health. Goodbye, Margit! Yes! Feel like a walk in the park. And as we all know, once Margit is down, we have the real cycle to deal with, Godric the Grafted. And what's psychotic about him is how fucking easy he is to deal with. No matter how much health he has, he's the slowest multi-limb man to ever exist. And being the slowest man makes him very susceptible to range attacks. Add on top of that the stun damage we do, and down goes our first demigod. Come on! Yes! Yeah! And I am the Lord of all that is dead. Now from here it's a bit complicated since we have a few branching paths we can go down. First is going through Ranala's area and fighting Radagon's puppy. And like any puppy, he jumps around like if the earth is a trampoline. What makes this fight easier was getting Radagon's Source Seal. This gives you extra stat points, and figuring out how to dodge his attacks. It was by no means easy to do. Stop! Don't you know when enough is enough? But I did eventually shoot down the dog. Come on! Oh, goddammit! You rat! Yes! 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 Now with the dog put down, we can grab Radagon's icon to decrease our casting time, Graven's School Talisman to up our damage by 4%, Corallo's Glintstone Crown for the extra intelligence, and Gravity Well from the Games of Thrones Nightwalker himself. With this, we're ready to face Renala and her army of scholars. The only problem is, this vial of a health bar and ever-growing first phase. Died by a book! Renala's mechanics are simple. Kill child, kill child, kill child, pop Renala's bubble.
It's that easy.
Except,
It isn't.
not only is every part of this boss room capable of flinging itself at you, God damn, stop with the chandelier! But our gravity magic spells are slow as hell. And the only saving grace I found was the fact that Rocksling shoots the rocks you summon even after you get flung by a book. This made killing these children a lot more tolerable. Now the next problem is the sheer lack of damage we do once Renala comes out of her quarantine. The reason this is a problem is because, like the classic Sigma introvert she is, she finds a way to isolate herself yet again. Which means Operation SpongeBob has to be initiated again and again and again. Are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain. I can't hear you. Aye, aye, Captain. Who lives in a library lonely and feud. Her name is Renala. Fuck her and her kids too. Seriously though, this fight is bullshit. Just now redo. God damn it, Sia! Why? Enough for me to go out of my way to go gather runes just so that we can do a bit more damage, which allows me to finally reach second phase. But then there's the problem of managing our FP. We gotta make sure throughout the entire fight we're not wasting any rock slings and consistently landing attacks while making sure we don't get hit by this horny beam.
Silence, wench. I do not wish to be horny anymore.
Dodge perfectly! Oh! Oh! Come on! Renala! Please! Yes! 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 Next boss we need to eliminate off our list is Radon. But before we go decimate him, we have a few side bosses to kill. First one is Loretta, and this is so that we can start Ronnie's questline, which we need to do for Estelle Natural Born of the Void shit, and the Curse Mark of Death shit. All the shits. Loretta wasn't all too bad. Die! No! Just a bit of timing and slowly ticking away at her health bar. Die, Loretta! Bastard, yes! Yes! Next boss is the Onyx Lord, which has a spell we need, and that spell isn't all too hard to acquire. Now the reason we need Meteorite is to test it on Radon, and then immediately stop using it because unless the boss is Rykard size, or your mom, half the meteorites just kinda swoosh on by. The last side boss before Radon is the Falling Star Beast, which is also kinda dog shit easy. And the only reason I'm giving it screen time is so that you can keep your filthy Dorito-dusted fingers off your keyboard when writing a very nice comment on this video about skipping a boss. Moving on. Now Radon ain't too bad. Once I got used to him. No! The reason being is because we have access to Torrent, which allows us to magically drift in the sand while simultaneously shooting our Wakusi at him. Just so you're aware, Wakusi is the name my chat gave to the rock sling attack. I don't know why they did that, but it's Wakusi now. Now the only attack we have to look out for Radon is the Lightning Wave. What a beauty. Oh my god, I forgot it. Which we have to preemptively dodge so that we don't become the living embodiment of an EKG. And his testicular gravity attack because that's a few too many balls my body is prepared for. Other than those two attacks, we can continue to throw Wakusis at him, get a little lucky. Oh, come on! Oh my god, he's stunned! He's stunned! And then finally finish off Radon. Yes! 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 After resetting the stars, we have a few ways we can go. We can go and face the draconic... What? I'm pressing the... Tree Sentinel. Yikes. Or we can make our way down a meteorite hole with our little old friend Mimic Tier. I think you know which one I chose. Past Mimic Tier, there are two bosses known as the Valiant Gargoyle and Regal Ancestor Spirit. Now the Regal Ancestor Spirit is a stretch for us right now, because not only do we do pebble damage, but the Regal Ancestor can just heal itself whenever it wants to. Yay! The Valiant Gargoyles, on the other hand, are in the realm of possibility. At least when compared to the... That was so I healed! Now before we decide to die to this fight, we have to upgrade our intelligence to 60 in order to use the Carrion Regal Scepter. You may be asking how and why, and that's quite simple. We can get the Carrion Regal Scepter by stealing it from Renala's remembrance. And the reason it's better than just using the Meteorite Staff is because the Meteorite Staff can't upgrade, which means its scaling is fixed at a certain amount. And if we upgrade the Regal Scepter to a high enough level, we can get a better scaling, along with the 30% gravity magic increase if we equip the Meteorite Staff on our opposite hand. But getting to 60 intelligence is a little obnoxious for us at this state in the game. So I settled for a little less and equipped a helmet that made me look like a cashew, grabbed the Stargazer heirloom for 5 intelligence, and equipped the intelligence knot in my wondrous physic. And just like that, we have
60 intellect.
I was also told after this to grab Collapsing Star from the War Dead Catacombs, and use it because of its surprise ability to never miss. That combined with our upgraded staff makes a hell of a formula that allows us to shove balls into our opponent's face. Ah, yes! Now I'm legally obligated to mention that right after this I used the same gravity ball strategy against the Onyx Lord, who's one of the gravity related bosses I have to kill by the end of this video. After this we went against gravity to the Deeproot Depths to go and deal with Fia's Simps. Oh my god, did he just vigor check me? Oh my god, he did. He just vigor checked me. The reason being is because if we end up killing them by using... Huh? What the hell? Floaty magic? We can gain access to this teleporter, which takes us right past that damn Draconic Tree Sentinel. Thank God. And now we're at the capital, which we can shortly run past and go right towards the Phantom First Elden Lord. Now for this boss, I'm getting rid of the Collapsing Star strategy since he's heavily resistant to magic damage, and instead using the Wakusi attack since it does physical damage. He's easy, that's it. Now with him dead, we have Morgott to deal with. But before that, let's go and visit the... At the... We have to kill 3 duelists, which we can do safely by utilizing the world's gravity, which grants us the Great Jar Arsenal, which is very much needed with every single enemy doing 1.25 times the damage. Back to Morgott, we can rejuvenize the Collapsing Star strategy since it's our fastest attack, and spend most of the fight following quarantine rules against Morgott, only dodging certain attacks, like this pile drive attack and this spear throw. Anyways,
Goodbye, Morgott.
after Morgott, we went to go continue Alexander's questline since last time I fucking murdered him, and then I proceeded to the Lake of Rot, which takes us to a Legend Gravity boss. Now on hard mode, this boss isn't as easy as it's set out to be. However, that doesn't mean it was as hard as fighting the Soldier of Godric. Now Estelle of the Void is weak to our Wakusi attack, so slinging our balls at him is our best option for penetrating his anal bead of a body. And because stun damage is a thing, we quite easily get this guy to repeatedly stun. Die! Yes! Estelle drops her Remembrance, one with the skill Wave of Darkness, and another with the skill Nebula. Now, Wave of Darkness is a gravity form of magic, but I opted not to use it since if we get too close to the enemy, we can accidentally do damage with our weapon instead of the gravity magic portion of the attack. This also applies to Ashes of War, Gravitas, Rain of Arrows, Cragblade, Alabaster Lord's Pull, and Onyx Lord's Repulsion. Now for the case of Nebula, I asked my chat if it counted as gravity magic, and they very humbly said it was not. So I popped that Remembrance like I popped their mother's backs. Now it's time like no other to climb the Mountaintops of Giants to fight the second chunkiest boss in this game, first going to Rykard with 88,761 health. But that's for later, since we have the Fire Giant with 64,895, which is an insane amount of health, and it's practically impossible with our current build to have enough FP to survive this fight. As expected, this is definitely a battle of attrition, and we can help in this battle of attrition by taking a detour to this fully grown falling star beast, and once defeating it, very easily surprisingly, we can obtain the falling star beast jaw, which according to chat and my expert wisdom, does count in this challenge, since as long as we have FP, we can shoot gravity bolts at our enemies, and there's like no way for us to accidentally do weapon damage here like the other Ashes of War. Unless it's against the Elden beast, which I'll get into later. Now the Falling Star Beast Jaw doesn't do an extreme amount of damage, but it does act as an upgraded rock sling since it can stun any boss with 5 consecutive shots. And yes, that includes the Fire Giant, who most people, including myself, didn't even know that he can get stunned like this. Now with Gravity Bolts as our magic of choice, First Phase turns from using perpetual rock slings and meteorites to using an excessive amount of gravity bolts. But just like all good things, they have to end. I literally dodged, you piece of shit! Our end is caused by the lack of cerulean tears, even though I have 10 cerulean tears equipped. Welcome to hard mode. Luckily for us, there's one more spell we can acquire, which just so happens to be the best gravity magic spell in the entire game. In order to grab it though, we need to head to the Consecrated Snowfield, which means we need to kill... No. Fuck this guy. All we need to do is take a swan dive off a cliff and then thank the Elden Lords for the stake of America that just so happens to be here. Now in the Consecrated Snowfield, we need to enter the Yellow Tunnel, which harbors the other Estelle. And they're both the exact same, so in killing this one, I ended their lineage and acquired their power to throw meteorites. And more specifically, the Meteorite of Estelle. Now the Meteorite of Estelle by itself isn't gonna get us very far. But tie it together with the Cerulean Tear, which gives us infinite FP for a small period, and now we have power. A lot of power. So much power that it glitched the game. Anyways, GG way too easy, Fire Giant. Yes! Yes! I took this Thanos magic to the crumbling Farah Missoula, which meant again touching a female's hand before marriage. I'm not supposed to do that, how dare I? This Thanos magic dissipated when I died, so no more glitch. Which meant I had to continue my journey across the Farah Missoula to the Godskin Duo, aka the worst duo boss across the entire franchise. Fight me if you think otherwise. Now the only attack that does reasonable damage in this fight is Estelle's Meteor.
Copernicus.
Estelle's Meteor takes a decent amount of time to activate, along with the fact that it's quite mana expensive. I think you can see the problem here. So, after dying 20 times, god damn it, no! The best strategy I can come up with is hiding behind this pillar in case they decide to throw up black flames, and pray to every deity and province in existence that we can deal enough damage to not run out of cerulean tears at the end of this fight. Oh, no! And luckily for us, this is quite possibly the best thing I have seen in my life. That's exactly what happened. Please die! Yes! Yes! We did it! We did it! After the Godskin Duo, we have a few bosses we can choose to fight. First is the Regal Ancestor, which I saved till now, because at least now we can do enough damage to where healing doesn't matter, and my chat can stop smashing or passing the Regal and Cussy. I don't get it. I really don't get my chat. Why would you smash this? It's bones. Anyways, next boss we can go after is the Lich Dragon Fortisax, who can fort Izax off. That doesn't make any sense. Basically, he's dog shit easy. Next boss is Dragon Lord Placidusax, an actual dragon boss that possesses a challenge. Cry about it, Lich Dragon. Now before we go on with the Dragon Lord, I grabbed Alexander's Jar Shard after we dueled and I fucking murdered him, which boosts the attack damage of our Gravity Bolt attack. Sadly, even with this, we don't do much damage against the Dragon Lord, and although redundant, this is what most of the fight is gonna compose of. The only change is landing a Meteorite of Estelle at the beginning, and getting better at dodging his attacks. No! Since most of them can one-shot us. What hit? Hit me! But after getting past the hurdle of not knowing how to dodge his halitosis, no, his laser beams, and figuring out you can run towards his tail during his dragon breath attack. Run, follow the tail, follow the tail, follow the tail, follow the tail. Yes! I ended this man's whole career. 1, come on, 2, come on! Yes! Yes! We did it! The Placidosi is down! Yes! Now on to Malekith. One of the most get good, your literal ass kid shoulda dodged there, why even try, help me type of bosses. Now we should all know that first phase is relatively easy, unless you're shit like me and have to spend 7 minutes running around his arena for him to do this claw ripple attack, or till he's far enough away where you can just get off a gravity bolt. Past this first phase is where all the rage comes in. No, it didn't stun him. I thought it would stun at 4, since it's worse than contracting malaria. So I had to, yet again, figure out how to dodge a boss. Which, might I add, is harder than trying to piss while someone's in the stall right next to you. Trying to put this into practice didn't work, since Malekith has no fucking openings. No fucking openings. The only openings I can figure out was right after he shoots 3 of these asswipes at me and then proceeds to do a merry-go-round. And when he does this earth-shattering attack, which I can never dodge properly anyways. I dodged! So I said, fuck it, and just went with the age-old strategy of hiding behind these pillars, praying I can stun him before he gets to me like if he was hepatitis. Ah! Why is he alive? I don't want hepatitis. Ah! Yeah! Yeah! Up next is my little Mogchamp, who we can make a lot easier by obtaining Moggy's shackle, which allows us to pin him down and unleash an infinite number of gravity bolts until he starts phase 2. Now for phase 2, we need this purifying tear because without it, we take damage during his transition here, and we compare this with this windy crystal tear, which gives us iframes and helps us dodge this pile drive he does. The pile drive isn't it though, and we have to spend quite a lot of time figuring out how to make Mog nihil before us. Yes! Yes! Now that was Moggers. Next up is Horalu, and this bastard of an Elden Lord is basically a dodging game. For his first phase, he stomps these stalagmites into existence, which if we dodge incorrectly, we take a bit of damage. Luckily, we can use spacing during the phase to get off persistent gravity bolts. Once he advances to the next stage, his stomps can be felt in Japan, and he stays on top of us like my IBS. Luckily for us, we can shoot a gravity bolt every time he does a little axe swing. That's if he does an axe swing. And if he does, we can make it to second phase where we receive multiple blunt head force traumas. Our only openings in second phase is when he does these grab attacks, which luckily for us, he does quite a lot. We can also get an opening when he decides to grip one of the tectonic plates by moving back and then laying one out. Come on! Yes! Yes! Suck my balls! Next up is what most people consider the hardest boss in the game. I beg to differ, especially in this run. Melania wasn't actually that bad, but it's probably because I already have experience with her. Her first phase, though, is the most boring thing in existence, since all she does is walk and sometimes jog, which gives us the opportunity to deal damage when we are far enough away. But the thing about that, though, is the fact that we can't do more than one gravity bolt, since she's programmed to come at us like Judgment Day. But unlike the book of Revelations, we don't need to believe in Jesus to avoid an unholy outcome. And that brings us to second phase. God, I missed! I love second phase. So very much. So much. This is where most of the despair comes from. And it's not because second phase is all too hard or anything, but it's because if we fail second phase, we have to repeat first phase. And yeah, that's not fun. Not fun at all. Now, second phase works the same as first phase. When she decides to slow down, we shoot a gravity bolt at her. The only exception is these two attacks. First attack is the 9-tail explosion attack, which if dodged correctly, gets us a lather of gravity bolt attacks. Second attack is the pedal attack, and it's kind of like the exclamation point level of the back rooms, since the only way to avoid it is to RUN, run as far as possible. But other than those two very deadly attacks, we can kill the Blade of Mikola. Come on! Yes! Die! Yeah! Now next up is Rykard. Fucking Rykard. Usually if you watch a Can You Beat video, they skip this boss. And it's for good reason. 80,000 health is a lot of health. What? No! Now the way I went at this boss was to use a godly amount of poise from the Bull Goats set, plus the Bull Goats talisman, which will allow us to stand inside the lava Rykard excretes for a longer period of time. The reason I need to do this was to unleash the havoc that is Meteorite of Estelle plus the Cerulean Crystal Tier. But after trying over and over again, I realized that this was not going to work. No matter how far we get, we just don't have enough FP to deal all that damage. So this is where Plan B got initiated, which was to endlessly grind Living Jar Shards and Altus Blooms, so that we can go craft the Iron Jar Aromatic, which is basically Iron Flesh from Dark Souls 3. It gives you an intense defense buff along with increased poise, at the drawback that it makes you overloaded. But why would we care about being overloaded when sitting in a lava pool shooting huge, large cratered balls at a 200-foot long snake? Exactly, we shouldn't. However, that doesn't make it any much easier to kill Rykard. And it's mostly because in his second phase, he sends these skulls at you, which you need to run around the arena in order to deactivate. This means constantly switching from being in the lava and then not in the lava, then in the lava and then not in the lava, and then dead. So this is where Plan C came into play, which was to fill up on Starlight Shards to restore FP. Didn't work? Okay. Plan D, get raw meat dumplings, which heal 50% HP and mitigate their poison effect when neutralizing boluses. That one didn't work, did it? Kill me. Plan E, use Melena's Great Room to hopefully stay alive. That was stupid, I know. Plan F, screw all their plans, jump onto this rock, get Rykard stuck, use meteorites, use Starlight Shards. Kill Rykard. Yes! 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 Next boss is the final boss in the game. But before that, I'd like to say, subscribe. At 100,000 subscribers, I will beat Grail with just my bare fist. So be one of the 100,000 and subscribe. Anyways, now we have Radagon and Elden Beast to fight, and on a typical run, I would usually tank through Radagon's damage and then annihilate the Elden Beast, GG too easy. But this run, I can't do that, because if I do, I'll just run out of Crimson Tears, or I'll just die. Die. It was usually the latter. Okay, whoever told me to jump over it, I think it was Capri-Sun. No! So I had to figure out Radagon's openings. And what I was able to conclude is he doesn't really have one. What worked best was running away from him, waiting for him to do this long sweep attack, and if we're lucky enough, we can get a gravity bolt off, or again, we die. Now, if we can make it past Radagon, we have the Elden Beast to deal with. I dodged! God damn it! Who has scoliosis, so I accidentally did damage to him with my weapon. Runs over, goodbye. No. You see, as long as we have FP, our weapon doesn't do any weapon damage. So I look past this and then reset back to the Grace, keeping the fact that we always need to have FP on mind. And as you can see, the rest of this fight was just a dodging game, where we had to play it safe and make sure to jump over his rings, avoid this raining hell, etc. Move away. Let's go! Yes! We did it! Elden Ring! Gravity only, hard mode. Yes! Now before you leave, thank you to my top donators, I'll Find the Red, Colonel Colonoscopy, and Dung. And thank you to everyone who tuned in during the streams and donated. I appreciate you. Thank you. Now like the video.